All right, y'all.
Loser parents we weren't there.
I would like to announce that a quorum is present. The meeting is duly called, and notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. The time is 6 p.m. The following board members are in attendance: Dr. Buddy Bonner, Catherine Sells, Michelle Akateb, Dr. Stacy Barker, Allison Lasan, Sheila Taylor, and Jenny Prosnick. I've asked board member Dr. Stacy Barker to lead us in prayer.
I invite you to pray with me as you so choose. Almighty God, our eternal guide, send down upon all those who lead this great district the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose we may faithfully serve in our offices to promote the well-being of all our students, staff, and stakeholders. I ask in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. Ms. Sells, would you read our mission statement? Sorry.
Engaging and inspiring learners and leaders.
And I'll read our vision. All students are confident, equipped with the knowledge and skills to thrive and adapt for their future. We have public comments are next on the agenda, but we have no speakers. So we will move on to our information items. Item G1, the internal audit update. Dr. Bonner.
Thank you, Ms. Prosnick. We have convened as a committee once or twice, and things have kicked off with the purchasing and procurement department. We are working with Gibson Consulting and are excited to do so. And I believe we have a target completion date of February. And that is all.
Thank you, Thank you, Dr. Bonner. Next, our discussion items. First up is the Student Services Report. Ms. Gall.
I'm going to ask that Melanie Vincelette and Trish Kuckler come up to share the annual SHAC report.
Person needs to be read.
I may get this right. Okay, you're not going to believe the next thing I have to say. So, for the School Health Advisory Council report this year, Dr. Rapp wanted a little bit more information about what the council does. I am the dinosaur and have been doing this for 14 years, obviously not with this microphone here. But anyways, what I wanted to do is just kind of recap. Back in 2000, the Texas legislature decided that the community values needed to be reflected in human sexuality content. So they mandated that all districts have a school health advisory council to give them input. So over the years, it's morphed, and more things have come across our plate. For instance, this year, the fentanyl education for students will be coming in front of the council, so our role is extended exponentially. Also, we are a bridge for our community in that we provide a collaboration effort. Lots of times, community values may include why are we serving ice cream in the line? And we have opportunities to discuss that and provide education and let them know about federal and state laws that require us to do certain things. Another thing that we do, or the most critical thing that we do, is our membership, fostering them, selecting them, etc. You all are supposed to, hopefully, approve our membership, our new members, on October 16th. So what we do is we advertise for applications. Then the co-chairs and the chair review the applicants, and what we're looking for is diversity in occupation, interest, and we want to make sure that the representation for all of our 5 feeder patterns is evident. So we work hard at that, and something I want to brag about, humble brag, is that we have a lot of retention. And we're so lucky that our stakeholders continue to want to come back to our meetings and that they are more and more educated on what we do. And I think that they then take it to their community and share the importance of some of the ongoing efforts that we have and everything that we build around health and wellness and prevention.
Well, now I'm going to stumble like Melanie because I cannot get the presentation to move. Oh, well, there you go. That makes so much sense.
I'm not starting again.
I appreciate that, Dr. Rapp. All right, so this year on SHAC, we have some upcoming topics. Like Melanie mentioned, we will be discussing our Fentanyl Poisoning Awareness Week lessons. A lot of the topics that we do cover are mandated by Texas legislation. We have some examples of those from past years. House Bill 1525, any changes in reproductive and sexual health education. We've had subcommittees review Senate Bill 9 and Senate Bill 2428, which was on opioid and vaping education for children. This year, so we have the fentanyl subcommittee, and we'll also have an elementary subcommittee that'll be formed to look at physical activity and movement during our school day. And then for last year, the SHAC did meet 5 times during the school year. We covered elementary and secondary reproductive and sexual health resources. We reviewed our district wellness plan and updated that. And then one of the subcommittees also looked at tenets of Senate Bill 9 for our students, and they made recommendations and implementations. And then on this last slide, I just wanted to review some of the SHAC-approved programs that promote healthy lifestyles for our students. 21-Day Challenge, 21-Day Challenge at Work, which if you haven't signed up, you have until midnight tonight. Fuel Up to Play 60, which encourages children to play for 60 minutes a day. And then our Kids Heart Challenge, where all the money raised does go back into research for kids' heart disease. And that's it. Do y'all have any questions for us?
Thank you. My only question that I have is there a requirement for the number of people that serve on the SHAC? Or can it be larger or smaller? Or
I did it. The current bylaws are 32. We can make adjustments as we like, Ms. Prosnick. It depends on the topic. Some years, like when we had the human sexuality content, we voted to increase the number of members, and we're trying to maintain at 32 voting members. We have a lot of visiting district members that come in and provide their expertise, but voting members are at 32.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Thank you, ladies, so very much. I appreciate the work you do.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is Learning and Teaching Report. Ms. Gall, External PE.
Excellent. So Deborah McDonald is going to join Trish Kuckler. Trish oversees our elementary PE, and Deborah gets the pleasure of overseeing our external PE and coordinating that for our district.
Hi, I'm Deborah McDonald. I want to talk about external PE. And this is from the last year. We had 439 students participating in our program. Of that, 105 were high school students, and we had 334 middle school students. We had about 19 sports or activities that we offer through external PE. And right now we have 95 active facilities and about 120 instructors. We did add bowling this last year as a level 2, so we did add that sport.
And one of the updates we did make to external PE, which we're very proud and excited about, is we've automated the process for registration. So now if parents, when they go to register, put in their student ID, it self-populates. It automatically sends an email to the coach for them to verify the schedule and then to do their background check. And it keeps parents from signing up for the wrong level because it monitors all that. I mean, it's been delightful for all of us. So we're very proud of that update.
Okay, and then we broke down the numbers for levels. So our level 1 is a 5-day, 15-hour minimum, and the students actually gets a class period off, either early, first period, or last. And then the level 2 is a 3-day, 5-hour minimum. And so what we have here with our level 1, we had 76 high school students registered for level 1 and 151 middle school. And then with the level 2, we had 29 high school students and 103 middle school students.
And then for the spring, we've not had a cost change to the program since 2008. So we would like to do a cost analysis of comparable districts to see their participation numbers and what they are charging for external PE, and then we will bring that information back to you.
Are there any questions? I'll go with Ms. Taylor first.
I just, for clarification, when you mentioned the cost, that's cost to the families and not the district. Is that correct? Okay. Thank you.
I just had a comment. As a parent of a middle schooler who is participating in an external PE, that process was very seamless and easy, so you should be proud.
Thank you. She's been a godsend to get that going. That was so awesome.
Well, you've improved on a system that my husband said was far better than the one that he started with when our son was playing lacrosse. So thank you. The only thing I would ask is I would be really curious to see it's broken down by school, by feeder pattern. I just think that might be kind of interesting. Also to see, if, especially when we're looking at that cost analysis and moving forward. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
Next up, finance report, food service renovations and equipment replacement. Dr. Rapp.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Mr. Fite's got this item in the next one. Of course, this item is related to our spend down plan and kitchen equipment as a part of that.
Okay. Good evening, President Crosnick, Dr. Rapp, and the board. So my first item is the excuse me, the CSP 1069-23 food service renovations and equipment replacement. As Dr. Rapp mentioned, this project is part of that Child Nutrition 240 Fund spend down plan that was presented to the board last October. Last November, VOK was awarded the architect for this project, and then in this past February, we selected the competitive sealed proposal delivery method that was approved by the board. So this project includes equipment and renovations at 28 different facilities within Lewisville ISD. There is one additional site, Marcus High School, where we still had some clarifications needed. So out of caution for the federal bidding requirements, we decided to put that out on its own package, so that will come forward to the board in a future meeting. So this is the second time that we bid this specific project out. The first time we had very limited participation. We actually had one bid. This time we doubled that. We had two bids. Wish we had more. But so one of the responses that we received this time also did not include installation and haul off of old equipment as we requested in the bid. So we will bring this item back to the board on the 16th as a consent item with our recommendation. And with that, I'll answer any questions that you might have.
My only question is what's the timeline?
So right now, we're hoping to get a lot of the work done by the end of next summer. It really depends on the lead time of equipment once they get under contract to solidify.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
And I think you are, per Dr. Rapp, you're up again.
Yes, ma'am.
That would be the 2017 bond update, new construction and technology.
Okay. Well, I'm very pleased to be able to present another bond update for you, talking about our construction projects. So really similar format here. I've shown some of these slides a couple of times. We were joking earlier about the clicker not working. Let me see. There we go. Okay. So a couple of definitions that you'll see. We talk about substantial completion and we talk about final completion in these slides. Substantial completion means the building can be used for its intended purpose. So basically, the construction is done to the point where students can come in, use the facility. There might still be some punch list items, some items that are still, long lead. After COVID, we seem to have a lot of long lead items that kind of linger. But final completion means everything is done, punch lists are done, we've done final reconciliation of all of our project funding, and I'm bringing it to the board for final completion per board policy. So that's kind of the difference between those two. And then this is a bit of an eye chart on the screen, but hopefully you can read it better in your materials. The typical project cost, basically, this is to explain the breakdown. When a lot of times what we talk about is the construction cost. That's really the GMP of the project, the guaranteed maximum price of the project. There are also a lot of other soft costs, is what we call them, architect fees, commissioning fees, any abatement required, materials testing. There's a ton of things that have to be paid for with a large construction project that are outside of the contractor's GMP. And so you might hear me talk a lot about construction cost, overall GMP, or soft costs. Hopefully that's a good breakdown for that. So the next few slides really go through year 1 through 5 of the bond. You'll see here in green, it'll be things that are in progress. Blue is closed out. So bond year 1 obviously is all closed out at this point. Bond year 2 is all closed out as well. Bond year 3, we have one project left, Flower Mound High School 20-year refresh phase 1. That project is substantially complete. So as I mentioned earlier, our goal is to bring that back in December for closeout to the board. On year 4, we've got basically Lamar, Flower Mound, and Hebron High School fine arts projects. That work all just kind of wrapped up this summer. So we're finishing up punch list. We've got obviously some financial reconciliation to do and bring those back to the board for closeout. Wellington's a little bit of an old one. Excuse me. It is substantially complete, and we are targeting December to bring that back for the board for closeout as well. And then year 5, which was the last year of the bond, but our most current projects. Bluebonnet 20-year refresh, 20-year life cycle maintenance and repair. We just finished that this summer, year 2. It's substantially complete, as well as Lakeview Middle School fire alarm replacement is substantially complete, and the pre-K playground replacement at McCullough Elementary is substantially complete. We're still doing some work at Lamar Middle School with the electrical upgrades, and Marcus High School, we're finishing up the fine arts addition renovation there. And then the Colony High School, the press box, we got that substantially complete. It's been used for this football season. And then we are still working on the multipurpose facility out there, and I'll have some pictures to show you of those, as well as the Tech East addition, which is in design. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. This is kind of a good news slide. We like to show this. We had pretty substantial savings in the 2017 bond, especially in the early years before the real inflation impact of COVID kind of hit us. And so with that savings, we were able to do quite a few extra projects. We were able to pay for some overages, some change orders for unforeseen conditions, like at Degan Elementary that we had, or DeLay Middle School, with structural bracing and structural items that were unknown until we really opened up the walls. And so fortunately, we had the additional savings within the 2017 bond to handle all these projects here. All right, so the rest of my presentation is all pictures, so I'm going to go fairly quickly, but I really feel like we've got a pretty good snapshot here of what we did this summer. So Bluebonnet Elementary, 20-year life cycle maintenance and repair. So here's some before pictures, the lovely 90s color scheme that you see in a lot of our schools there, and then here's the after. Trying to go with more the feeder pattern colors and neutral flooring, things like that. Some more pictures of before. You can see kind of the gang restroom down the hallway towards the gymnasium. And then there's the after. Just another hallway. And after, this is out there by the library, the little bench sitting outside the library. And then this is inside the library. And so this was the old furniture, not movable, not flexible. And then, of course, here's the new. All those bookshelves now are on casters. They can be rolled around, and it's flexible, so the librarian can set that up however she feels necessary. There's also, you can see in the back there, the little reading nook. And here's just another shot of that library. Cafeteria, so you'll hear a lot about cafeteria tables and the new furniture that we talk about a lot. There's a good example of that. Stage lighting, curtains, all the things that were done in there. And then this is the music room, so the kids love these little lily pad furniture cushions in the music room there. There's a couple of images of the new logo. So our communications folks did a great job of helping come up with a new mascot for Bluebonnet. And there it is in the gym. So a lot of the other projects that I'm going to show tonight aren't necessarily part of the 2017 bond, but we were fortunate enough to have the funding, some land sale proceeds and things like that to get some additional projects done this summer. One of those was the Flower Mound High School cheer locker room renovations. And so you'll see kind of a before picture here and after. And then here's another after shot. So the idea, this was at Flowermount and Hebron both, and the idea was to get them some real dressing space, right? Some mirrors, some counters, and to be able to dress in those spaces. And Flowermount also had a brand new restroom. So they did not have the restroom area before. There's actually a shower around that corner in the picture there. And then here's the pictures for Hebron. Hebron, what we did is we took out that little peninsula of lockers in the middle. We got the right size lockers now, so there's a couple of images of before. We really opened up that space, and you can see the new style of lockers, the open space, the dressing area that I mentioned before. Sure.
So I just want to note the stickers and like the decorations, that's not provided by the district, correct?
Correct.
That is provided by the Booster Club?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next one is the Flowermount High School, Lewisville High School, and Marcus High School. We had the basketball goals that were on the court, very heavy, very hard to move, really was considered a safety issue. And so we went in there and put overhead goals in all of these multi-purpose facilities. And so you'll see some before and after shots here. You can see the goals, again, floor-mounted goals there. And now they're overhead. And same thing for Marcus, on the left side before, on the right side after. And then Flowermount as well. Flowermount's a little harder to see that goal way back there, but trust me, it is on the ground. And then on the right side is the new operable goals. So we got all those done in time for by the end of the summer. Lewisville High School and the auditorium, they had a sound booth that was never enclosed, and so the sound equipment was just kind of out there. A little bit of a security issue. We have a lot of equipment sitting there. So we were asked to build a sound booth enclosure there. So there's some pictures of the before, and then here's after with the sound booth there. So you can see up close. A sound booth with sliding windows. Another element of this project that we had discussed with the board before was some sound rack relocation. So they had the sound rack that was up on the mezzanine, and students would have to climb in the dark, like during a performance, climb up a ladder to go up there and troubleshoot if there was a sound issue. So this kind of shows you what that ladder looks like, what that mezzanine looked like, and what the sound rack looked like. And now it's located on the stage itself. So students that are working the event can now just go to the back of the stage to that sound equipment to do any troubleshooting needed. New band towers at all 5 high schools. So we got 2 of them done before marching band season. The other 3 we're going to attack after marching band season in November. So this is a picture of LHS band tower before. And here's a picture of the new tower. And to get a little more perspective for you, this was really a great picture because it shows the before and after, just to really show you the scale, the difference between these two. So much safer enclosure. The staircases are much safer to go up and down. It's much more secure with all the fencing around it, and obviously it's taller and has more levels for the band directors to stand on. They're also covered. We have Wi-Fi capability and lighting and electrical on those towers now. And just another picture of the Flowermount High School. As I mentioned, Colony, Hebron, and Marcus will get their towers as soon as band season is over. Student Success Center parking lot renovations. So this was a great project. We were basically able to, and I took this from Google Earth here. This was the before picture. We were basically able to double the parking there. This site is very small, and it's always had parking challenges. Since we moved the 2 new groups to this facility, we've especially had parking challenges. A lot of staff parking up and down the streets in that area. So this is the most recent one I could get off Google Earth. Trust me, the project is complete, but you can see where it was located there on the bottom left-hand corner of the picture. I'll go back and show you. This is before. You see the playground there. We had to relocate some swing sets and basically take the rest of that area for parking. And this is, again, a before picture. This is after. We have lots of fencing there to make it safe for the students. We actually have a couple of layers of fencing so that the parking is not a concern for the students during the day, and obviously nobody can get inside that parking lot because we do have students going back and forth to that playground during the day. I mentioned earlier we relocated a couple of items. One on the left side was the old swing sets, and on the right-hand side they had some planters there for little gardens. And so we were able to relocate and provide new on both of those. And so that's a picture of that. The next one here, this was a 2017 bond project, as I mentioned earlier, the Lamar Middle School Fine Arts additions and renovations. This included a storm shelter, brand new band hall. Here's some before pictures. Here's the after. This was in the orchestra area. This was in the choir area before and after. Here's the ensemble room being used by students once school started. And here is the new band hall. So this new band hall is the storm shelter as part of this project. And this is their tech lab. So this was actually part of the project as well. I mentioned earlier the Colony High School, so kind of really three pieces to this project. One is a new press box, one is a new multi-purpose activity center, and the final piece is just fiber to the press box. And the fiber has yet to come. We're going to do that in the December timeframe. The press box is complete, and I've got some great pictures to show you. This was the old press box before. This was kind of during. I thought I put the date on here because it's very it's a little bit unbelievable to see how much work went on in a short amount of time there. June 15th was the date here. It's just a skeleton basically, and this was after basically ready for that first varsity home game. I know many of you, probably all of you, have been in that press box at this point. Here's another aerial great shot of the back side of the press box, and then on the inside, this is what it looked like before. And here's what it looks like now. And again, just another aerial image of that. Inside the press box, just obviously the concession area, refrigerator, sink, and obviously on the left-hand side is all the rooms that look out onto the field. Some good pictures there. And then this is the multi-purpose facility. So this is basically a large gymnasium, and that is underway. This project will be complete next summer. And then finally, the Tech East addition and renovation. So we are in design on this project, making very good progress working with the team out there at Tech East. And here's our proposed timeline. So right now our target is to get a GMP, guaranteed maximum price, to the board in February of next year. Our goal is to begin construction in March of 2024. In order to do that, we've got to do some groundwork with the city ahead of time to make sure that we turn our plans in early and try to get permits and everything to get started in March. There's really three pieces to this project. There's a dental lab, there's a new automotive lab, which would be the storm shelter for the building, and then where the old automotive lab, when they move out, that'll become a new welding lab. And so those are the three pieces. The dental lab, we feel confident that we can get that work done next summer. The new automotive lab, storm shelter, because it is a storm shelter, it's a little bit more complex. We think we can get that done by March of 2025. The target would be working with the campus, a spring break move-in of the automotive folks out of the old automotive facility into the new one, and then we can get started on that welding lab renovation and get that one done for August of 2025. So again, this is all the proposed timeline at this point with what we have right now in design and not having worked through the permit process yet. Here's a site plan that shows where that addition is going. It's basically on the very, very back of the building. So if you pull up to Tech East, it'll be on the very back, real close to that row. You see that line on the kind of the goes diagonal across the top right-hand corner of the picture there. That's really the railroad that goes back there. So very close to that. Kind of hard to see on the screen here, but this is the little dental lab renovation. This is an existing classroom, basically, and we're just retrofitting this classroom to be a dental lab. Right now, these are the plans for the welding shop. And this was the automotive addition and storm shelter. And then here's a little rendering that the architect has put together of the automotive, basically the new addition portion of this building. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Brian, and then we'll answer questions at the end.
Thanks, Randy. This next item is regarding safety and security. So there was $28.8 million in the 2017 bond for safety and security. Those projects were really shared between safety and security, new construction, and technology. So when we look at the list of projects in the blue, essentially everything that we said we were going to do in the area of safety and security are complete. That includes life cycle replacement for some of our safety items, access control, fire alarms, phone, lighting, and district-wide notification system. We also expanded our security cameras. We put the security vestibules in and then upgraded some of our communication and network access. So the remaining balance in this area is zero. In the area of technology, this should be a familiar slide. Essentially, there were two main categories of work. First one is really around devices for students and staff. The second category was network and infrastructure, and the total budget for that was just over $99 million. So what you see here, everything in the blue are projects that we've completed for the student and staff device, with the exception of the one green. And what that is the shared device standard. If you recall from this I think it was June, we brought a consent item to the board saying we want to do that in phases, get the technology in, evaluate use, and if we need to come back with a future phase, we would do so. In the area of network and infrastructure, a lot of blue on there. Everything blue is already complete. The campus sound system refresh, the WAN fiber ring equipment, and district-wide switch project, those are underway. For the most part, all of that equipment has been ordered. We have it, and we're working on the project. I'm trying to give updates as they come in the weekly board update. So anyway, those are underway. This June, I did share that we're very likely going to have to address our security cameras at some point. Since I had that in front of you, we've made a few changes. We did a memory upgrade. Safety and security has been able to kind of purge some of the old technology, so I feel like it's bought us a little bit more time. So we may not have to do that quite yet. As far as the backup system licensing and support, that's something that is going to be a consent item in 2 weeks in October. That one we do have to do. That equipment needs that licensing to continue to be used. And then what you see here is essentially the remaining balance is approximately $7.8 million. And we have to close out a few projects too, similar to what Randy's team does in new construction. We have to do the same thing in our area. But the items on the list as far as remaining projects are what were in green, with the exception I did not have the ERP project management and consulting services anywhere on that list. That's something that as we discussed that project with the board, we were going to use some of our unencumbered monies to help pay for that project. And then I have in here other, and that essentially is depending on the results of the future bond. If it passes or doesn't pass, obviously, if you remember from 2017, we front-loaded a lot of projects. So when you start looking at life cycle replacement, depending on timing, if the bond does pass, when is there an issuance, when would we need to order, that could change. And then also, as I shared during the last work session, we're working on another Apple residual value project. That's going to be on the consent item as well for 2 weeks. So as we get revenue in, that will adjust that bond balance to the good. So that'll actually go up a little bit. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Dr. Bonner.
Really just a comment. A colleague today who has had occasion to be in many of our athletic facilities there in District 6A said to me, and it's reflective in the work you just talked about, Randy, and to a lesser extent, Brian, but said to me, I've really enjoyed coming over to Lewisville. I've been in and out of many of your facilities, and I've been impressed with how clean and well-kept they are, but also the obvious equity across your district. And so I just wanted to share that because that's reflected in that work, and it's a commitment to what we do in Lewisville. So I appreciate the opportunity to do that, Randy.
Ms. Lasan?
In addition to Mr. Fight and team being good stewards of our funds and finding project savings and stuff, Mr. Colbeck, you and your team have done a fantastic job of, just like you were talking about the Apple residual funds. I mean, how many millions of dollars have you saved, just by selling back our devices? Do you know off the top of your head, not to put you on the spot?
Without looking at the current project, I think we're somewhere between like 4.3, 4.5.
That's major, and you guys have both just really done, as a person who sat on that bond committee way back when in 2016, 2017, you guys have really done us proud with the way that you have managed the funds, and and then just sitting here for the past five and a half years, you guys have come up to us with, well, we've got some money saved here, so we want to do this, and we can do this. And you both have done it, I couldn't even begin to list off all the things, that you guys have accomplished with that. So anyway, thanks to both of you and your teams for doing such a great job with that. And Brian, I didn't say this at the board meeting, but in your monthly technology updates, you've got the little pie now that has the savings, and how much you've spent. That's fantastic. I love that. So anyway, great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I do have a question. You're not getting out of that chair without a question from me. When's the elevator going to be ready at the Colony High School?
Right. So the word now is they're supposed to be out next week to begin installation of that. So the elevator is on site. It was just trying to get them back out. Obviously, they committed to other projects. It's a union type situation. So it's supposed to be out next week to start.
And I also appreciate the fidelity, as Ms. Lassonde said, to the bond committee that came forward. So thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Y'all have been so kind to definitely express your thanks to staff, and we're also appreciative of that. But I, too, want to extend just thanks and appreciation to all of you, because, as we look at the projects that were able to be done with savings and with land sale money, when we bring needs forward, you all do everything you can to meet the needs. And in a district this large, there are a lot. So, thank you for staff appreciation, but thank y'all so much for your commitment to the 2017 bond. And I feel like we've grown more sophisticated in our reporting out of what we're doing as a result of the questions and asking. And so very, very proud. And of course, any of the facilities that Mr. Fite has reported on this evening, we want to be sure that if you haven't had a chance to walk those, please let us arrange that opportunity so that we can ensure that you're seeing all the work that way as well. We want to be sure you're in them too. So thank you.
All right. Dr. Rapp, you're up with the board meeting consent agenda preview.
Okay, so as a stand-in for Ms. Maloney this evening, I am going to draw your attention, as she would say, to a few items on your consent agenda preview as you get ready for the regular board meeting on the 16th. In the new bids, purchases, programs, and initiatives section of the consent agenda preview, you have 6 items there that staff have pointed out, and one of those items is the Apple products residual value to the questions asked just a minute ago, and that the district has received approximately $4.5 million from retired Apple products. Another one that I would point out to you all, it only comes forward every 3 years, is the resolution adopting the prevailing wage rate for LISD construction and public works projects. This resolution ensures that our subcontractors are paid the general prevailing rate of the per diem wages for work of similar character in the locality, and so she just wanted to be sure that that was drawn to your attention, that you all work to ensure that the subcontractors are paid accordingly for their work that's done. And then the safety and security related professional services, I'm actually going to point this out as an unfunded mandate. Essentially we've been working to meet the requirements of House Bill 3, and we know Mr. Garrett is doing a great job on the hiring of the guardians and that program. But ultimately, this one, the estimated annual expenditures for this specific category here for the professional services is $65,000. But of course, we know our safety and security program is going to cost overall $6 million, and we only received about $1.5 million from the state in funding. And then you've got the next category in your consent agenda previews, annual purchases that come before you. And so, of course, any questions on those, we know you will ask in preparation for Monday night as well.
Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the Human Resources Report. Ms. Cobb.
Good evening. As you know, we're here to talk about class size waivers, and the Texas Education Agency requires all school districts to conduct a school size enrollment survey for pre-kindergarten through 4th grade students, and then submit a request for an exception for classrooms that exceed that class size of 22 students. The results of our survey show that we have 12 campuses with 29 classrooms exceeding 22 students per class. 23 of those classes are sitting at 23 students, which is over by 1. 6 of those classes are sitting at 24, which is over by 2. A large part, this is largely in part due to the teacher shortages across the state of Texas and the country. Within the first 3 to 4 weeks of school, we worked very closely with the Chief of Schools Department, and we made changes as best we could. In relation to that, we've also provided you a list in the weekly update and then a list of the specific campuses in your board docs tonight. So if approved, we'll bring this back for approval in the October 16th board meeting. And if approved, we will submit and send the letters out to parents, providing them with the required written notice. of the state-granted exception. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Ms. Sells?
I just want to make a comment. I know how hard you all work to staff our classes. It is disheartening to see that number keep creeping up. We worked very hard after Ms. Prosnick and I were elected to this board back in 2016 and 17 to get those numbers down. But I also understand that there's other factors involved in why this number is going back up. One of them maybe being a basic allotment increase that we have not received from our legislative body. So I want to commend you for your efforts and thank you for continuing to strive, but also just wanted to make it a matter of the record that it is disheartening to see those numbers increase. But thank you for keeping them at that level that they are at 23 and 24. When people talk about in the community about low class sizes, one of those reasons is because of funding. And so just wanted to make note of that. So thank you.
Ma'am. Thank you.
Dr. Barker?
I just have a question because I know of these waivers, but I don't know a lot of details about them. What happens if we have additional classrooms that, for whatever reason, we see enrollment tick up a little bit as our year goes on? What happens if we have additional classrooms that need to be added to this list because they're at 22 and all of a sudden get 23?
That actually happens. This number is very fluid. So even right now, the 29 classrooms tomorrow could be 25. It could be just based on student withdrawal and the ones moving in. So we update you through your weekly update, and that's how you're updated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I have a great concern just about one campus
Yes,
that
ma'am.
has 4 third-grade classes, all at 24.
Yes, ma'am.
At what is the tipping point to create another class?
I know which campus you're talking about.
Mhm.
And that is a conversation between the chief of schools department and the principal and the availability of qualified candidates. And that is probably the reason at that campus, for that.
That's the shortage. I guess I wanted to highlight
ma'am.
that that's
That is
because
the
of a
teacher
shortage. It's not because we think that 24 is a responsible number to have in that many classes.
Absolutely, 100%. That is a result of the teacher shortage.
Okay.
Yeah, I think to that point, definitely in previous times when we wouldn't have had a shortage of elementary teachers, we would have most likely been looking for another teacher to add there. So that is a reality we're facing.
Any other, Ms. Sells?
One other question. How do we factor in, some of these campuses with these increased numbers may not have total campus capacity, but how are we using these numbers to plan next year for transfers? And the availability of that, because I think that we need to really start looking now at some of these numbers and what's going on and how many, do we have transfers in those numbers in those classrooms?
Yeah, so definitely the work starts really, not only just monitoring these numbers, but as we build the staffing analyzers, as Ms. Bray builds those for staffing in the spring, and we carry over the classes to the next school year. So we don't use the demographic report to drive the staffing analyzer. You use that as a source to kind of see, is there some growth we need to be aware of, but you basically roll forward and then you look, if we have to add a class moving forward, then you may not be able to open up as many classes at the lower grade level in order to ensure that the classes you have maybe added on are able to matriculate up. So you definitely have those conversations, and Jeff, Mr. Kosh's team, and Rebecca Clark that's working on transfers, they all meet and they talk about how much space is there for transfers as a result.
All right, moving on. Next up is the Board of Trustees update. Dr. Bonner, would you like to go first with the audit
I would like to go first, Ms. Prosnick, and I'm going to take a moment of privilege and go back to item 1. Have you ever been in a meeting and you just totally blew the answer on something? I gave y'all a really good answer on where our current audit committee is working. However, I didn't say a word about the work that's been done, so I'd like to go back and revisit that on item 1, or excuse me, in G1. You'll notice on that document that there are several of the audits that have been conducted in the past detailed. Of course, the older the audit, the more work that has been accomplished. That's noted by the grayed out areas, and a note that it's complete or partially complete. Things like the governance audit and the PEMS audit. And as we move down the page, you see in the intermediate audits that have been done over the past couple of years, the staff is at work on those. And then certainly in the last audit, the transportation audit, there's hardly anything done because we just finished. So I know we'll have another update in April, and I would anticipate we'll see more gray. That's not anything other than an allusion to the sheet, and look forward to that. So thank you for that second opportunity at G1.
We are about growth here in this district. As far as the other committee updates, I would just say that the legislative committee will be meeting soon to go over the work that we did at Team of 8 to move on that. Ms. Lasson, did you have anything?
The three of us met got right before the day before you left. Anyway. And so I have a page of notes of things to do's, but anyway, we are working away, and we need to track down Miss Brim and get with her, but we're good.
Ms. Sells.
And I have superintendent evaluation, and I wanted to thank Dr. Fitzhugh. She's been working on some of the changes that were requested at the last evaluation, and we're trying to get to that point. I'm hoping to call a committee meeting this week in preparation for our upcoming board meeting on the 16th or 17th. I can't remember. 16th. On the 16th. So Dr. Barker and Ms. Taylor are part of that committee, and so hopefully we'll be meeting soon.
And then I guess the only other update I have is on our programs committee is that we are working through things and coming up with some good systems, and I think some help with the RFP for the ERP. I get points for that, Dr. Bonner.
Ms. Taylor, were you going to say anything about the program and budget review? I don't mean to get in your way if you were. No. I just wanted to say I'm very appreciative of the work being done there on the data that were being provided by Dr. Fitzhugh and Ms. Bray. Exceptional data, and I don't know how you can make a good budget decision without that, and so I just really appreciate that.
All right, moving on. Next item is to reaffirm the board legislative priorities prior to special session, which actually I believe begins on the 9th. We will meet, we will do that on the 16th. My ask of the board is that if you have any questions, concerns, edits, or adds, to get those in before Thursday, or before Wednesday of next week, if possible. Okay. Next up is an action item to consider the nomination of candidates to serve on the Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors. I formed a special committee of Dr. Bonner, myself, and Ms. Alcatab. What we are going to be doing here is just the nomination. We will, for those of you who've been around before, we will do our voting in actually November because we are considered a large district. And so we have to get our votes in before December 1st. So tonight is just about nominating. Dr. Bonner, do you want to speak to the committee's recommendation?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. The discussion among the committee was that we continue to support those individuals that we supported 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. And the rationale was that they were very responsive to the entities in the Denton Central Appraisal District. And we wanted to support them, and by way of supporting them, support Chief Appraiser Don Spencer as he works to reform some of the things that the Denton Central Appraisal District are currently doing. And so that's our rationale. Entities like us are nominating tonight, and then we'll have a slate of R3 plus any others to vote for in November, as Ms. Prosnick noted a moment ago.
Ms. Alcatab, do you have anything to add? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion? Dr. Bonner.
I'm going to make it. I move that we, the Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees, nominate Roy Atwood, Alex Buck, and Ann Pomikow as candidates in the election of the Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Second, Dr. Bonner. There will be a roll call vote because of the way we sit. Ms. Lasan. Okay. Ms. Al-Kateb. Ms. Sells. Oh, sorry. Absolutely. I'm so sorry. You are correct. We did not have discussion.
I just wanted to verify, we gave Ann Pomikel votes 2.5 years ago. Okay. Okay. Aye.
Okay.
I'll go on with the vote.
All right. Ms. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Barker?
Aye.
Dr. Bonner?
Aye.
Ms. Prosnick is an aye. The vote carries 7-0. If there is no further business, this time is 6:51. This meeting is adjourned. Have a pleasant evening.